The full first season of the new Spider-Man animated show is currently streaming on Disney+. So is this show worth watching or should you pass on it? Let's get started on my review of the first season of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Let's go.
I think it's time to blow this thing. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
What's going on all my flicksters? This is JC and I just finished watching the first season of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Now before I do get started on my review, please note this will be a spoiler-free review just in case you haven't seen any episodes currently showing on Disney+. Also, please make sure that you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on more new cartoons that I'm reviewing just like this. So Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man stars Hudson Thames, Coleman Domingo, Kari Wahlgren, and more. This animated series follows Peter Parker on his way to becoming Spider-Man in the MCU, with a journey unlike we've ever seen and a style that celebrates the character's early comic book roots, but with a different twist on the character. Alright, so now that I finally finished the whole season, and if you guys have seen my recap of the first couple of episodes, definitely go and check that out, where I actually recapped a lot of what went on in those first couple of episodes and what I thought was going to happen. Now that I'm finally finished with this first season, Marvel Animation's Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man shakes up Peter Parker's story in an unexpected yet compelling way. One of the things that I was thinking about as I was finishing this first season is that we've seen so many iterations of Marvel's Spider-Man. We've seen so many cartoons over the years come out. I mean, we've even had, just in the movie universe, 3 different Spider-Man. So like, are we gonna get any more? I don't know, but it's nice to see a fresh little take on it or a different type of spin on the character. One of the things that they definitely chose to take a different direction on is that instead of Peter Parker being mentored by Tony Stark, this version finds Peter being under the guidance of Norman Osborn, the very man who, in most versions of the story, becomes his worst enemy. This intriguing shift immediately sets the series apart from past iterations, injecting an element of tension into Peter's journey. Now, as I said in my previous episode review, definitely go into this with a fresh pair of eyes and expect something new. Don't think that it's going to be the same old story told again. But I definitely like that, especially because over the past so many years, we've seen so much of the same version of Peter Parker just in different movies or shows. Now, the show doesn't just change who Peter learns from, it reimagines much of his world while keeping the essence of Spider-Man intact. The story kicks off with an entirely new take on Peter's origin, skipping the familiar beats that we are used to and discovering his powers and diving straight into his months of being Spider-Man after he's been bitten. Peter is soon recruited into an internship at Oscorp, setting the stage for his complicated dynamic with Norman. This was by far my favorite part of the show, and you guys, this is not many spoilers, you've probably seen it in the trailer, but I love the dynamic between Peter, Norman, and also with Harry Osborn and how even Peter and him meet. They're not best friends right away, which is pretty awesome, and it's a different type of dynamic with them. Also, he has a different relationship in Nico, which is a brand new friend in this show, and it definitely felt like a breath of fresh air to have that different dynamic with those friends. This version of Spider-Man's universe shares similarities with the MCU but branches off in fascinating ways, tweaking established elements in ways that keep both new and longtime fans on their toes. Even supporting characters take on different roles, making the world feel fresh without straying too far from the core themes of responsibility and heroism. I also did like how some of the friends he meets along the way. Now, in our familiar world of Peter Parker, what we've known in the traditional story of him and Spider-Man, we do tend to see some of these people, friends and just people he's met, become villains. But in this new iteration, it's interesting to see if they become just friends or they become those villains. Now, as far as the voice acting overall, the performances in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man elevate the storytelling significantly. Hudson Thames takes on his role of Peter Parker, delivering a youthful, slightly scratchy voice that fits the character's earnest and occasionally awkward nature. His portrayal effectively balances humor, frustration, and determination, making Peter feel as relatable as ever. The real standout, however, is Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn. His performance adds layers to the character, making Norman more than just a future villain. He's a commanding, persuasive mentor whose charisma makes it easy to see why Peter would be drawn to him. And I loved how there is is an iconic line that is rephrased by Norman Osborn as opposed to someone else who's told him in the original story. I won't say too much. And there's a twist on what he tells him. And that iconic line takes a different type of meaning with the story and also with how Peter Parker takes it. The dynamic between Peter Parker and Norman Osborn is one of the most gripping aspects of the show, and their conversations are filled with a fascinating mix of encouragement and underlying menace. Now, with the supporting cast, they also shine, particularly in bringing the revamped versions of familiar characters to life. With fresh takes on figures like Harry Osborn and Lonnie Lincoln, the show introduces an engaging ensemble that keeps interactions lively and engaging. Now, let's get to the animation, you guys, because I know this was a lot of people's gripe and even a lot of fans' hesitation when it came to this show. And for sure, I was one of those as well, I will admit it. But visually, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man embraces a style that pays tribute to the classic comics of Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr., using a 3D cel-shaded approach that captures the essence of hand-drawn art. You can definitely see that in the trailers for sure, with it just looking like a lot of the animation is jumping out of the comics at you. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't crazy about it at first when I saw the trailers, but watching the show, it definitely grows on you. And I actually loved seeing that type of animation and it being so vibrant as the show went on. The action sequences are kinetic and exhilarating, with fluid web swinging and dynamic fight choreography. And I mentioned this in my episode review, but it was something that I quickly got used to and I wanted to see more of. Now, with that being said though, the animation does have its quirks. Some character movements can feel slightly unnatural, and the backgrounds, while serviceable, don't always match the vibrancy of the foreground action. And I know people on Twitter were pointing it out, saying, why are people in the background doing this like weird little stiff A pose? And it was hilarious to me when I first saw the trailers, and I was thinking, uh-oh, that's not good signs of this show if it hasn't come out yet. But you do quickly get used to it because your attention is usually drawn to the character that is shown on the screen and who the story is focused on at that moment. Though I will be honest, it's not on par with visually stunning animated series like Arcane or even X-Men 97, but for the most part, it successfully delivers an engaging and energetic look. So here are my final thoughts, you guys. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is a fresh and inventive take on the legendary character, blending bold changes with a deep respect for Spider-Man's core themes. The decision to swap Tony Stark for Norman Osborn as Peter's mentor creates a compelling dynamic that drives the show's tension and intrigue. While the animation has its rough edges, the storytelling, performances, and action more than make up for it. With a second and third season already confirmed, it's clear Marvel is confident in where this version of Spider-Man is headed. The series offers a thrilling, thoughtful, and often surprising spin on the web slinger story. With all that being said, I'm gonna give your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1 3.5 flames out of 5 and a pretty fire show rating.
It's nice.
It's definitely worth the watch. I wouldn't say it's amazing or it's groundbreaking or anything like X-Men 97 or even some of the other animated shows, but it's definitely worth the watch if you are a fan of Spider-Man and you want to see a different take on the superhero we all know and love. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is an absolute thrill from start to finish, delivering a fresh and dynamic remix of everything fans love about the web slinger. Now, although the animation does have its quirks and you do have to be open to a lot of the changes, it does have its bold twists on familiar characters and one of the most compelling and alternate timelines in the MCU. The show injects new energy into Spider-Man's world for sure, and every frame bursts with vibrant colors, creativity, and stylish comic book inspired animation that brings the story to life. Packed with fun action sequences, a strong cast like Coleman Domingo, and a well-crafted narrative, this series is a must-watch for any long-time Spider-Man fan. It'll be interesting to see what Marvel Animation gives us in the future with season 2 and 3, but I actually enjoyed this first season. Alright guys, so have you seen any episodes yet of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? If so, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And last thing before I do go, you guys, please make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on more new cartoons that I'm reviewing just like this, and just recaps and reviews and all those things. My name is JC, and until next time, I'm out.